This is Yamal going right at the defender, trying to enter his dribbling flow state. He is initiating the dribble with smooth and steady stepovers. So this is any dribbler entering their instinctive flow state. And it is not intended to do anything to the defender. Rather, the dribbler is getting his body ready for the dribble. However, in this process, the defender will start reacting to the dribbler. So after the step over, Yamal is now ready to initiate the intentional dribbling moves to beat the defender. The obvious thought will be to go right, as the left is already covered by a second defender. But instead of running at the space, he tried an inside step over to check whether the defender will commit to the left. Still, the defender is in line with the board, so he did yet another one. So after the second step over, Yamal did an exaggerated body feint to completely unbalance the defender. Here the defender is completely thrown to the right side and Yamal can actually exploit the free space. But he did not cut inside here. The reason may not be easily digestible for everyone. Yamal is actually capable of shooting from this narrow angle. But the truth is, Yamal isn't comfortable with this particular skill. After landing his foot, the natural reaction should be to cut inside with his left foot. But he fails to do so. That doesn't mean he is bad at dribbling. It's simply because this relatively easy movement pattern is not embedded into his skill set. The next move shows why dribbling is so much contradictory in football. He goes for an outside step over and the defender reacts to his move. Obviously, any defender will plant their foot in the process, and every dribbler will exploit the static defender by adding another body feint. This body feint to his right triggers the defender to make yet another reaction, and Yamal escapes it by moving in the opposite direction. So this particular move looks much tougher than the earlier one, but still he preferred to do this one. But why is it so? He could have easily dribbled to his left earlier, but chose not to do so, and instead he did that now. It's because this particular move is ingrained to him when compared to the earlier one. Or in other words, this step over combination has become an instinct for him. But in the previous one, he was unsure what to do after the feint. There he has to apply deliberate decision making. Therefore, he hesitated a bit to cut inside after the body feint. If it was natural to him, he would have automatically dribbled inside and shoot at the goal. So the whole point is, the success of a good dribble is mostly dependent on whether that move is natural to the dribbler. Any good dribbler will do much more complex moves if it is deeply ingrained to his brain and body, but can't do the simplest moves if he isn't comfortable with that. The next one shows how a minute mistake forced the player into the flow state. In this one, space is very open on the left, so he executed his typical inside cut. But as soon as the touch got heavy, he entered into that reactive state. The extended foot towards the ball is purely a reactive action. These reactions will be always a lot quicker than the deliberate actions. He was forced into a flow state here by his heavy touch. A mistake from his part made things easy for him. Even the shot was purely out of instinct. Since the first action was purely reactionary, then the follow-up will be even more rushed. The player won't think for a second. He will simply execute his habitual action. Here the habitual action is the shot at the goal. Since these situations are regularly encountered in the training ground, the brain will automatically trigger such movements. I firmly believe that even that bounce to the ball was unintentional. But we should remember that instincts can only trigger those patterns which are already ingrained in the player. The player should have all those excellent moves in his arsenal, then only it will be triggered. So the whole point is, an aesthetic footballer always prefers to execute actions in his flow state. He may not attempt easier things if it is natural to him. But the problem is, it's not easy to deliberately enter that flow state. At the same time, a minute mistake can force that player into a form of flow state. This is the case with any technical player, and that is the contradictory beauty of our game. We can't simply do everything on our own. It's always some kind of triggers which force the player into a flow state.